Hello, I'm Anneka and welcome to Animal Watch, and this week we're talking cloning dogs.
Clones are organisms that are exact genetic copies. Every single bit of their DNA is identical. Clones can happen naturally. Identical twins are just one of many examples, or they can be made in a lab. An animal who hit the headlines many years ago was Dolly the Sheep, who was the first publicised successful animal clone. She had been created by the process somatic cell nuclear transfer. This, in layman's terms, means taking DNA from an animal to which you would like to copy and putting this DNA into an empty egg, where the nucleus and DNA has been stripped out of. Scientists would then need to jumpstart the cell into growing like a normal fertilised egg using a small electrical shock. No sexual reproduction is involved. The egg would then be implanted into a surrogate mother and carried to term. Snuppy was the world's very first clone dog, an Afghan hound who was produced with a Labrador surrogate mother after 123 attempts by Korea's Serum Laboratories.
So today I would like to talk about the controversial issue of cloning dogs. I've certainly thought about it. Maybe you out there have thought about it, especially with this beautiful dog Kyoshi that I have here. I love her so much. I think all of us have a favourite dog sometime in our life that has really moved us. Kyoshi has been the sweetest, most loving, most wonderful dog that I've ever had, and I simply just cannot imagine life without her. But I know that one day she will get old and she will pass away, and I'm going to have to carry on living without her. So should we clone our dogs? Is it safe? Is it right? Or more than anything, is it ethical? So firstly, who is doing it and how is it done?
The only company currently actively cloning dogs is Serum Biotech Research Laboratories in South Korea. They say that they will clone your pet for $100,000. They cannot do it from swab DNA sampling, which is, as we know, an easy procedure, where you take a sterile cotton bud and sweep your mouth for skin cells. Instead, they have to do it from live tissue taken from your dog while they are still alive or within 5 days of their death, as long as the body is store-wrapped in wet towels in your fridge. Nice. This is to preserve the live skin cells which would die if the body dried out, if you froze your dog. If your dog is still alive, you would have to take your beloved to the vets. You would have to have them put under anaesthesia and a couple of segments of their flesh, the size of a coin, removed and sent off to the labs. If your dog has died, then many more samples must be taken in case certain cells have died off already. Once the labs receive it, they will culture the cells from the sample tissue to ensure that the cells are viable. The cells are then frozen and stored in a liquid nitrogen storage container. The cost to store your dog's cells is about $100 to $300 per year until you wish to proceed with the cloning.
So if you want to proceed with immediate cloning, this is where ethics start to get involved. Now, some of the things I'm about to tell you might not be the easiest to hear.
It takes about 6 months for the clones to be born, from the start of the process with the DNA to the delivery of the pup. Once born, the new clone will have to be at least 2 months old before he or she can board a plane to go home with you. This will vary depending on customs in your country, so certain animals could be closer to 6 months old before they will be allowed entry into your country.
So one man, Peter Onrang, did that with both of his dogs, and he received 2 clone replacements for each of them. I've been on his website and I've watched his video, and the man, he absolutely adores his dogs. I mean, he's so soppy. You should watch his videos. I haven't got a doubt in my mind that the guy would have been absolutely heartbroken after losing his dogs. And in his own opinion, he was thinking that he was doing the right thing. So why did he decide to have 2 clones from each of his dogs?
Well, sometimes you get more than one pup, and sometimes you can get the opposite sex, as Paul has a mix of both male and female clones of his dog. Also, if you look at his pups, both sets of clones do vary in appearance from one another, and also to the original dogs. This one here is a lot smaller than this one. Peter addresses the question of whether your dog will act the same as your original one. He answers this by saying that we are all a product of our environment and upbringing. The experiences that we have and the pain, hurt and love that we go through are all factors in determining our character. If you raise your cloned puppy exactly the same as the original dog, then it should be pretty similar. But let's face it, many identical twins are absolutely not the same in character. And having the same DNA doesn't always make the same person. Some people may be reproducing a rescue dog that they found. The experiences that the clone dog will have will be totally different to their rescue dog, meaning a different upbringing and therefore a different character. Also, clone dogs have different mitochondrial DNA from its genetic donor, meaning that they are slightly less related than identical twins. Researchers at the National Veterinary Institute at the Technical University of Denmark aren't convinced that cloning is producing identical mammals. They found that cloned pigs are just as genetically varied as normally bred pigs. Recently, a British couple flew to South Korea to receive a cloned puppy. Laura Jackson and her partner Richard Rems from Yorkshire are the first UK customers to have a clone. The couple's boxer dog Dylan died, leaving Jax bereft. "I had Dylan since he was a puppy," she said. "I mothered him so much. He was my baby, my child, my entire world." One famous dog that clones were created from was Tracker, a German Shepherd police dog who, along with his handler, Canadian police officer James Symington, discovered the last survivor of the September 11 attacks at the World Trade Center in New York City in 2001. For his accomplishments, Tracker was named one of history's most heroic animals by Time magazine. In 2008, Symington won an essay contest sponsored by BioArts International to find the world's most clone-worthy dog, as a result of which Tracker was cloned, producing 5 puppies.
So what about the labs in Korea where the dogs are made? Well, I checked out their website and I read this statement.
Cloning technology is possible at SOAM for any dog, no matter its age, size and breed. SOAM not only performs dog cloning research, but we also heal broken hearts.
Now, the more I looked at it, the more uneasy I became. It was evident that the mother in the film was a Tosa, a dog that is bred in Korean dog meat farms to eat. These dogs have no respect out in Korea at all. They're sort of used as an object and they're certainly not kept as pets. In scientific laboratories, it is really common for animals to be euthanized after they are not needed anymore. And I've heard that dogs can be sent back to dog farms also when they're not needed. So I started to ask myself the following questions.
Who is the surrogate mum? What is her life like as a breeding cow in a laboratory? What happens to her when they are finished with her? Is this any better than puppy farming? SOAM conducts dog cloning research at the lab, generating all sorts of images in my mind of experiments on dogs and things going wrong. We all know that this type of research entails animal experimentation of some kind. What happens to the puppies which are not DNA correct? SOAM website mentions that the puppies are DNA tested on delivery and only viable ones matching DNA exactly are delivered to the customer, as they can sometimes accidentally inherit donor dog's DNA. So where are all the rejected puppies going? The RSPCA issued this statement. The RSPCA is concerned about the cloning of dogs because for every cloned animal, many others suffer or die through failed attempts and experimentation. It is understandable that people whose beloved pet have died want to replace him or her, but by asking for a clone, they are causing suffering to other animals who are just as important. They added, there are serious ethical and welfare concerns relating to the application of cloning technology to animals. Cloning animals requires procedures that cause pain and distress, with extremely high failure and mortality rates. There is also a body of evidence that cloned animals frequently suffer physical ailments such as tumours, pneumonia, and abnormal growth patterns. Joyce Burnham McKinney, a clone dog adopter, decided to tour the cloning facilities in Korea. She stated that she was horrified by what she saw, including dogs, both sick and healthy, in tiny cages. She said one of her puppy's surrogates was skin and bone, and the other one didn't produce enough milk, so the lab simply sent her back. BioArt's founder and CEO Lou Hawthorne cited another concern. A certain percentage of the puppies suffered from physical abnormalities, which led him to conclude that it's not a consumer-ready technology. He also accused RNL Bio in Korea of mistreating their dogs, saying the low price of their cloning service could only mean that surrogate dogs were not adopted out and unwanted puppies were not being cared for long term. According to Hawthorne, RNL must be terminating the unwanted dogs.
Now, another really disturbing fact is laboratories will not tell you how many attempts they have made before they successfully clone your animal, which of course could have been loads and loads of attempts. And this is all the more disturbing for people who are wanting a clone when they truly believe the spirit of their dearly departed animal is actually reborn in the clone that they take home.
In Sung Hwang, one of the researchers at SOAM, admits the procedure does come with a fair share of risks. Some dogs are born unhealthy, but the lab will recreate the whole process until they produce a healthy pup for the client.
In Sung Hwang states,
in 2005, when Snuppy, our first clone dog, was born, we had a 2% pregnancy rate. Now it is about 30%. Some traits go wrong. Dogs can be born unhealthy. For example, they can be born with thickened necks or tongues and experience breathing difficulties. But we guarantee a healthy puppy for our clients, so we will try again. Often the client will take both puppies in this situation. We never put a dog down. SOAM has also stated on their website that they have to date created 28 type 2 diabetes transgenic disease model animals and 15 Alzheimer's transgenic disease model animals. Transgenic animals are animals which are often deliberately created with genetic defects, and these defects may well cause the animal to have a bad quality of life. A mouse has been created, for example, that has been genetically modified to develop cancer. Suffering may last for a long time in these animals, as researchers want to conduct long-term investigations into the development of diseases.
Okay, so my conclusion is, as much as I can understand how much we all love our dogs, I certainly absolutely adore Kyoshi, and I know that you out there, if you're watching this, are big dog lovers. But for that reason, I'm going to say that I am not supporting cloning dogs. What happens to those surrogate mothers? What is their life? They are sourced from somewhere. For all we know, it could be a dog farm that they're sourced from, or a breeder and supplier to dog farm. She's taken to this laboratory where she is used as a guinea pig. She is cut open. If she's not a surrogate mum to give birth, her eggs are harvested, and the one that gives birth is cut open on the operating table, and the babies are put inside her, whether she likes it or not, and then she's kept in a very sort of sterile small cage for the entire time that she is carrying the babies before they are delivered. If things go wrong and the surrogate mum does not produce enough milk, or she gives birth to deformed babies, what happens to her? Where does she go? Is she killed? Is she sent back to a dog meat farm? We need to know these things. And how about all the puppies that are born that are deformed? All of the ones that didn't make your perfect clone. Where are they now? Were they experimented on? Were they dissected? Were they cut up? Were they euthanized? I'm sure that your imagination is working as much as mine is right now. I just think from an ethical point of view that if you truly love animals, then you don't love scientific investigations and you don't like experiments on animals. These animals are guinea pigs. All of those animals out there producing your clone are being experimented on and exploited, and they will live their days in a laboratory until the end when they are not needed anymore. So when you go and you pick up your cute little puppy and you bring it home and you give it this amazing, wonderful life that you've dreamt of giving it, think about all of the animals that have probably sacrificed their life for your one puppy. And another thing is, if we truly love our dog, then our dog is irreplaceable. I know in my heart there is no animal that will ever be able to replace Kiyoshi, and for that reason I want her to be the only dog in my heart that I remember forever and ever. And for that, when I do lose her, I will give her the most beautiful burial that she's ever had. I will have photos all over my house, and I will look back on the videos and remember how wonderful she is. And instead of exploiting other animals in the hope to recreate another dog, which I'm never going to be exactly able to recreate, I will go to a dog home and I will rescue a dog who is on death row and is going to be put to sleep. Just imagine a new animal coming into your life that you have rescued from death and making all of those brand new memories with a brand new animal. That means this animal will always remain unique and wonderful in your hearts. If you enjoyed this episode of Animal Watch, then please give me a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'll be back with you every single week bringing you informative programs on dogs, wolves, canids, animal rescue and conservation. So be sure to subscribe to my channel and tune in every week. Bye bye for now.